Okay everybody, it's a special video here I'm going to do. I am on the way to my friend's house. I'm going to keep his name disclosed though, because I don't really want to give out his name in case he's wanting to try to keep this private or anything, but he's got an awesome collection of old school LJN WWF action figures. You know, the big stationary rubber guys you could run over with a freaking car and they'd bounce right back into shape. You couldn't bust these damn things, but man, they sparked my interest as a kid in wrestling figures, period. So I'm going in here to pick them up, and then we're going to take them to my house on this blistering cold night and check out the LJN WWF action figures that began in 1984. Now, I'm going to pick them up. All right, everybody out there, I'm here with my friend Thaddeus. I guess he does want to be known as the master toy collector here, and he's even got the Jedi beard, like the Jedi of collecting. So I'm gonna check out. His name's Anakin. So. And oh, we got Anakin here. He wants an appearance in here. He's a YouTuber himself. You got a channel?
No, not yet.
Oh, you need a channel on there.
I made a video about hide and seek in the summer.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Sounds like a horror film.
Well, try to find out the hide. Somebody try to find the hide and seek video. Maybe we can link it on here. You check it out. Hey, what's your name?
Archer.
Archer. All right, so you guys play with these figures?
Sometimes.
So what do you think about these, man? These are old school. Did you know these were made back in 1984? I was only 2 years old when these came out.
He was 5.
Yeah, so as we said,
we're trying to make him into black shorts.
Okay.
Originally came in the black shorts.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about these, Thaddeus. I've been friends with you for a long time. You were born what year?
79.
So these came out in 84. I was 2 years old, so like these were like the first figures that I remember that like got me into wrestling figures, because these were the first WWF figures they ever released. So what did you have the ring and everything like that?
A homemade ring.
I'm guessing your dad,
Larger.
like every Christmas you'd get like 20 of these damn things or whatever. So you
Yeah.
were really into this, and so like who were some of your like what's your, like some of your favorite thoughts about these things? Like you said, you tried to make some custom guys, like we can see here that you tried to make the Ultimate Warrior out of Paul Orndorff. And I'm guessing everybody on YouTube knows the LJN figures, man. I mean, they ran from 84 to 89. And the reason, you know, you tried to make an Ultimate Warrior is because he was on that infamous 89 black card set. That a lot of it was only released in like Canada, I believe. That's where the really rare Hogan that's worth like thousands of dollars comes.
I think I was collecting Ninja Turtles at that point.
Yeah, by that point, you know, that was the year that Hasbro took over with the small ones. Yeah. So you didn't get into collecting those. I mean, that's what I remember collecting. Ones, but it's kind of crazy that you're collecting of these. Turned in these figures kind of morphed to my collecting of the ones that came out after this, because they stopped making these, and you know the only ones I could get were those ones. So yeah, pretty sweet. You know, I really appreciate you letting me take these and checking all these out. There's a ton of them here, and we're gonna have to like turn the camera around real quick to see these, but whole box full of them. Some of my favorites in here. He's got the original. I'm pretty sure this is the original Andre, and he likes King Kong Bundy, obviously. Do you see yourself on there?
That is
I'm sicky.
George the Animal Still you got there, buddy.
You can show any of them.
And I'm sicky, and I have a real kind of tongue.
He would eat the turnbuckle.
You know what I love about it is that like these figures are from 1984, but like kids like this still love them to this day. So the bottom line is that well, the bottom line is that action figures don't ever really age, you know.
Never.
That's what I love about toys and figures and stuff like that. So I'm really glad that you're gonna let me take these and check them out, Thaddeus.
Yep.
You've got a lot more stuff you're gonna let me showcase and review too. So he'll become a little bit of a fixture here for a while on my channel. Anything to say to anybody out there?
Keep watching this channel.
All right, it's the future here.
The future.
I don't know what he wants to call himself. The Action Figure Jedi. And we got Anakin here. You want to say peace out, Anakin? What do you got?
My GoPro.
GoPro. Sweet. So, well, you guys will be on the video, so I guess you'll see this when everything's complete.
Excellent.
I appreciate it, guys. And yeah, I'm going to go home and check all these out, and we'll check out all that he got. So, peace out, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, everybody, so if you saw me at my friend Thaddeus's house, or the Jedi of action figures, or the action figure Jedi is what I like to call him now. And his sons, Archer and Anakin, were both really excited about these figures. I was kind of surprised, like, they love these figures. Like, that one was like, check out this George Still, or check out this King Kong Bundy. Like, they know who they are, so obviously their dads taught them about the wrestlers. Me being a huge wrestling fan, I really love these figures for the fact that, like, they weren't the greatest figures ever made as far as being stationary, kind of big and, you know, clunky to play with, hard to do certain moves and stuff. They kind of remind me of bigger versions of the later 1990 Galoob figures by for WCW. Yeah, I still like them nonetheless. I also got a bunch of the Bendies from 1985 to 86 that they made, and those would have been more up my alley because they're smaller, and even though they're Bendies, they look like they would have been pretty easy to play with and get some good moves on them and stuff. So we're looking at just a blank table here, but I have the complete set here that he has given me to show off. Big thanks to him for letting me do this, and his family. Pretty cool video, being able to shoot, you know, talking to him about them a little bit and everything. But I have all 9 from Series 1 here. I have 5 of the 6 from Series 2. And Series 3, I think, released 17 figures. And I have 8 of them. So, I mean, not a bad selection here of LJN figures from back in his childhood. Some of these he tried to modify too, so I'll show those off. Kind of funny. Everybody tries to do that as kids, especially with doubles and whatnot. But yeah, I'll show the main figures, then the Bendies, and I might break up the Bendies actually in a separate video because those are pretty cool and actually separate from the actual LJN you know, main 8-inch figure line that they made. These things are huge, and that's why I always thought as a kid they'd be tough to play with. But I remember actually playing with these at my cousin's house. She had the complete ring, and a good story about the ring is that the LJN ring was, the rights were purchased for it by Jakks later on, and that's why the monster ring was so much bigger than the Jakks figures that were released, and you had to, like, lower down a rope to play with it. But now, let's check out Series 1 here of the LJN WWF Wrestling Superstars action figures here. The first one here is none other than the champion himself back then, and that was Hulk Hogan, the immortal Hulk Hogan. He comes with his WWF Championship belt, which was a pretty cool looking belt at the time. And these are from 1984, Series 1, and you can see on the back of his trunks. I don't know how clear you can see that across the camera, but the likenesses on these were really, really nice, especially for 1984 for 80s action figures. And yeah, I'm going to label this a retro showcase and review, by the way, but this is a special one due to my friend hooking me up with these. So yeah, there's Hogan. Some of these are hard to get to stand up too. I might have to like lean him up over here. So there's Hogan. Next, we have the 8th wonder of the world, the first WWF Andre the Giant figure ever made. These were the first WWF action figures ever made, by the way, by LJN, who, even though they're a crappy video game company, they made some great toys. So that's the first Hogan ever made, and the first Andre the Giant here with long hair and all that they ever made. And he's pretty big, seeing him compared next to Hogan, who's hard to stand up, so you can kind of see the size comparison. So I like how they had the scales, trying to get in scale, making Andre a big, large figure. He's heavy too, but very cool. I think he might stand up, but yeah, a lot of these just won't even stand up. Actually, let me put the box up here and try to get these guys leaned up against here so we can get a good shot of all these guys. But we got Andre and the champion Hogan, which WrestleMania 3 right there. Next, we have the Rowdy one. Rest in peace to him too, and Andre. A lot of these guys have passed away by now, but this is Roddy Piper. The likeness on this one is decent. You know that's Piper, but I guess could have been a little bit better. And the Andre likeness is alright, I guess. Almost looks like Adam Driver from Star Wars, now that I think of it, but it's Kylo Ren, Andre. But I like how they have the Hot Rod shirt, the removable kilt, that you can remove. He has an extra one here, so A little banged up. I put the kilt on the nicer paint job, one of the two. These were really easy to scuff up. And this is how the tights looked on the figure itself. So very cool here. Series 1 to get Hogan's, a couple of Hogan's, well, his friend and enemy at the time in '84. Piper and Andre up there. So pretty cool. Next we have another one of Andre's, a rival of Andre at the time. These guys actually wrestled at WrestleMania 2, I believe. It was the Body Slam Challenge. And it's none other than, and I might be wrong, that might have been WrestleMania 1 that they wrestled in the Body Slam Challenge. I'm so mixed up right now. Help me out, C-Dub. But anyway, we have Big John Studd himself right here. So he can take on Andre there at WrestleMania for that duffel bag, that WWF duffel bag full of fake cash. Very cool. I like the likeness of Big John Studd here too. And I always heard that Andre was not a huge fan of Big John Studd. Personally. But cool figure. He's really heavy too. These things were so bulky. Like I said, you could run them over with a freaking truck and they'd be alright. Next we have, oh yeah, grab them cakes. It's the old Junkyard Dog, aka JYD. And you gotta love it. He has his JY dog tights on and a bulldog on the shoes there, or the boots, not the shoes. But a good likeness. They put this like makeshift collar. He actually came with a chain that they didn't have, which is kind of a shame losing the accessories. But you know, as a kid, it's very hard to maintain the accessories. Like having Hogan's belt alone is very cool. So next we have the Iron Sheik. Oh yeah, the Sheik himself, Iran #1. He actually has a couple Iron Sheiks. He makeshifted one into some special figure. I can't actually, I don't even know where the heck it is right now. I think I might have put him back in the box. Oh no, here he is. Yeah, they makeshifted one into some kind of Indian. I don't know if they were trying to make Chief J Strongbow or what. But yeah. Look at that. They modified it. You gotta love that, all you custom figure collectors out there. But there he is, the Iron Sheik himself. Sheiky! Gotta love him. He'll put you in the camel clutch and humble you. So he's got to go next to Hogan there. For sure. He stands up pretty good. We're going to throw that one aside. Next we have Hogan's buddy at the time. It's old Hillbilly Jim. Oh yeah, and Hillbilly came with his hat, and they do have the hat for the accessory still, so that's very cool that he has maintained the hat for all these years. And Hillbilly Jim, very cool figure. This is one I remember playing with as a kid at my cousin's. So you got to put Hillbilly up here. Like I said, 9 figures released in the first series. We have 3 more. He doesn't have his hat, but here is Nikolai Volkov, who recently passed away, so rest in peace with him. And USSR shirt on. Red boots, red tights. He was one half of the Bolsheviks later on, but he was teaming with the Iron Sheik, actually tag team champions with him at the time, so we'll put him next to Sheiky there. So, pretty cool how they were putting these tandems together too, because, you know, Hogan and Hillbilly were tagging at the time. He had Sheik and Volkov there. So, pretty cool. And next you had in Series 1 from 1984, none other than the Superfly himself. He is also deceased now. Kind of a shady past with him now, you know, coming out with some, you know, charges right before he died. So, but nonetheless, Superfly, a superstar in wrestling, and he's cool to have. It's cool just to have the complete series himself. And yeah, that was all 9. So you have Superfly, JYD, the Hot Rod back there in kilt, Hillbilly Jim, the Hulkster, Andre the Giant, Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, and Big John Studd back there. So the 9 figures in the set right there. So I'm going to take these. Actually, I'm going to keep them back there and just keep adding figures to it, to tell you the truth. But now we're going to do the 5 of 6 that I have from Series 2 for my friend Thaddeus to show. Okay, so kicking off the first 2, I had to put them together because they were collectively known as the Dream Team with their manager, Johnny V at the time. And it is none other than Greg the Hammer Valentine. And yeah, you gotta love him. This is definitely before his rhythm and blues days when he was just the Hammer. And yeah, before his boxcar days. My friend C-Dub will know what I'm talking about there. But yeah, I thought they did a good job on Greg Valentine, the son of the legendary Johnny Valentine. And he had his partner of the Dream Team, and none other than Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake. Excuse my language, but I had to say it. Look at the smirk on Beefcake's face, like I'm the shit right there. Mel Stripper gimmick. It just was bizarre at the time, and you gotta love Brutus the effing Barber Beefcake, but I had to at least say the real thing one time. And you got the Dream Team of him and Greg Valentine, who were tag team champions. And then you have none other than the third of the 5 that I have from Wave 2, which was launched in none other than 1985, and that is none other than George the Animal Still. And look at the green tongue on him. Yeah, I think Archer over there was pointing out how he liked the green tongue. And a little bit of green on his, not just like a wear, but it matches him good. He's got the hair all over him too. They didn't really color it, but he was really hairy. But it comes off pretty good. And the great, you know, paint job there on the tie, it's exactly what he wore. But you gotta love George the Animal Still, who also starred in Ed Wood as the wrestler Tor Johnson. So, yeah, he always loved that movie, I think. He did a great job in it, actually, as him. So we got to put George the Animal over there next to Sheiky. And the last one, the 5th of the 6th. The 6th one was just a re-release of Andre with shorter hair. So I think that Thaddeus and family just decided to opt out on that one. Or they just couldn't find it. But the next one, I remember my other cousin. I was speaking about my female cousin before, who had the whole set that and the ring and everything, but my other cousin had a few of these figures loose that he had that I'd play with as a kid, and I always loved this one, and he's huge. And I think that Archer or Anakin were talking about this one as well, and it's King Kong Bundy. Oh yeah, the behemoth, man. He is just massive. A massive figure too. I mean, listen to that hitting the table. I mean, that's some weight, just dropping it from that high and hearing that impact. I mean, this guy was, you know, heavy, and just as a kid, just huge. And I just thought he was a monster when I was a kid. And you can reenact WrestleMania 2 now, as he had him and Hogan, who fought in the, you know, old school blue steel cage match. And yeah, Bundy over there, great addition, long time veteran of the ring. I think he probably does some indies to this day, believe it or not. But a good likeness of Bundy, too. He was a monster heel back then. Did a great job. But we're coming across quite an array of figures and characters here. And that's what I love about the LJN line. They released a lot of characters. So yeah, basically all but one of the first 2 series is right there. And now we're going to check out the remaining Series 3 figures. Out of 17, I only have, let's see here, 8 of the 17. So... and then that will wrap up. Oh yeah, and I do have another though. I forgot to mention that I do have another. He might be a Series 1. This actually I think was a Series 1 or Series 2. Let's see what date he is. He's 85, so he's with the Series 2 as well. And it's none other than Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. But the funny thing is, why I almost forgot about him, is they added strings to him to make him look like the Ultimate Warrior. You can even see where they painted his face, because I think at the time he was almost done with WWE or WWF, which I know it more as. But yeah, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff there I almost forgot about, so I'm glad I looked down and found him. But we'll put him back there in the back. So we got Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, JYD, the Hot Rod, Hillbilly Jim, the Hulkster. Actually, WrestleMania 1 main event right there. All we need is, all we need is Mr. T, because we got Superfly too. So I guess if you had some A-Team figures, you could pull that off. But you got Andre, Big John Studd, Nikolai, and the Sheik, George the Animal Still, Greg Valentine, Brutus the Effin' Barber, King Kong Bundy, and I don't think I mentioned JYD, Superfly, and Hillbilly Jim in his hat there. So now we're going to check out the, 8 of 17 out of the 17 and the final figures that from my friend's collection. So let's check it out. Okay, so we have their Series 1 and 2, all but one of the 8-inch figures by LJN, the WWF Wrestling Superstars line from the 1980s, 1984 and 85. 84 was Series 1, 85 Series 2. My friend Thaddeus let me check these out. We're going to check out Series 3 now. He only had 8 of the 17, excuse me. But we're going to check these out now. And the first two, I have to point out that it looks like they tried to make demolition out of them, which, I don't know, I got to say to the Action Figure Jedi, it's kind of a shame that you tried to make demolition out of the British Bulldogs. Dynamite Kid just passed away. Both these guys no longer with us, so, I mean, it's no big deal, but I'm going to try to, clean these off for him and try to get these back into the British Bulldogs. I always loved the British Bulldogs as a kid, too, and I remember when the British Bulldog came back in a solo run in 1990 and did well for himself. This is the short-haired version of Davey Boy Smith. He's not as prominent on the coloring there as the Dynamite Kid is here, but they have the tag team straps on here because they came with the tag team belts. These might be from the tag team line that were released later on. I gotta see the dates on these guys. Yeah, this is the 1988, one of the 1988 tag team sets. So actually, even though they were both released in Series 3 or Wave 3, they also did a tag team series, but I'm still counting them. Oh well. So we have the tag team champs over here, the British Bulldogs, trying to be demolition. And next we have this is a funny one to me. One of the funniest, like they put a jobber in here basically. We have Corporal Kirchner, who went on to play one of the versions of Leatherface in Japan, if anybody doesn't know. He was like a Sergeant Slaughter ripoff type character. And they did make a Sergeant Slaughter, actually, I think in the second wave it was, through Hasbro. G.I. Joe you could send off for him, and he was playable with the LJN WWF Wrestling Superstars line. And a lot of people have them in their collection that collect the Wrestling Superstars. But here is Corporal Kirchner, and I like the likeness of him, though. He looks like a G.I. Joe, big G.I. Joe, basically. We're going to put him right there. And next we have the middle-aged and crazy. Well, this is before that, actually. He was still getting up there, though, at this time. Even though it was like 1985, Funkster had been going forever. And it's Terry Funk. He doesn't have his hat, and I think he might have had a poncho, too. But he does have his branding iron there. So, pretty cool that he's still got the branding iron. He's got the green chaps on and the red tights like he wore then. He is basically just like a prototypical cowboy coming from the Double Cross Ranch. So Terry Funk there. Pretty cool to have him from Wave 3. Next we have none other than AKA The Rock, Magnificent Morocco. This was his Magnificent Morocco days when him and Mr. Fuji had the good old Fuji Vice. So very cool. And you can see there Titan Sports 19. Let's see this one. He stamped
85, I think, or 86. Yeah, 1986. So this was launched in 86. I almost thought that was 89. But you can see they're stamped right there on the back. But I love the Magnificent Morocco stamp because I know in 89 in the Black Card series it's really hard to get a hold of, which is why they tried to make Warrior out of Paul Orndorff, but because you just couldn't find a Warrior. He goes for pretty good money now too. But they re-released some of the figures then, so I was thinking almost there. Man, he's got a sticky feel to him too. Some of these get pretty sticky over time. Next we have one of my favorites from back then, and it's none other than before they made him a fire-breathing dragon. He was just the Bruce Lee like wannabe, but it's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and very, very cool to have the dragon. Had one of the greatest matches ever against the Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3, still to this day. And very cool. You can see the headband around the head. And yeah, they made him very like Bruce Lee-like looking in his first run. And then when he came back, he was like dressed like a dragon and all that in his entrance and breathing fire and all that. But this was more when he was just the martial arts type guy. The dragon, you know, Ricky Steamboat. Just a great wrestler. So very cool to have him. And I might as well just show him next because that's the guy. This is the guy that he had the greatest match. One of the greatest matches of all time, at least. Yeah, I think it's one of the greatest of all time. But he had it against at WrestleMania 3. And that's none other than, oh yeah, the Macho Man. Check the boots, brother. First name's Macho, last name Man. Yeah. All you something to wrestle with fans will know what I'm talking about when I do that. But awesome likeness of the Macho Man himself here. Cup of coffee in the big time, brother. I always loved talking like Macho Man. Pretty sticky. Like I said, these things can get pretty sticky over the time the plastic starts breaking down. But he's got his shades on and his funky like a monkey bandana there, brother. Check the boots. Remember the name. If you can't remember the name, check the boots. First name Macho, last name Man. I love saying that. Anyway, there he is with the dragon. They pulled off a sweet match at WrestleMania 3. And then last, but definitely not least, is the late, he's not a living legend anymore, he's the late legend, and one of my favorites of all time, Bruno Sammartino. And it's awesome that in Wave 3 they made a Bruno Sammartino figure because, like I said, he was the Hulk Hogan before Hulk Hogan. He was the legendary figure of the WWF. And then later, WWF days, as he was older, I think grudgingly, you know, didn't really want to wrestle anymore, but he was kind of making up for his son's time. You know, he had his son in there. And then, you know, ended up having a big fallout with Vince McMahon when he became an announcer later on. So a lot of people probably used him as an announcer. Because by that time he was pretty much finished with his career, but nonetheless, Bruno Sammartino figure. And what is cool about Bruno Sammartino, to me, is I actually have, right up here, an autographed Bruno Sammartino photo there, battling Killer Kowalski at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, June 29th, 1969. You can see there Kowalski versus Sammartino and the autograph, so this figure looks sweet right in front of that. Definitely. So, rest in peace to the legend there. Last but not least. So, there is the look at the 8-inch WWF LJN 1980's Wrestling Superstars by LJN. And I really thank my friend Thaddeus, the Action Figure Jedi, for letting me check this out. And yes, that is your new nickname by now. For now on, anyway. Thad is the Action Figure Jedi. Definitely love that. AFJ. But anyway, I really, really appreciate this and hope you liked taking a look at these with me. Maybe get a little bit of info too that you didn't know about some of these. But yeah, I'm suggesting take care of these and don't sell them off, man. If I had these, I would definitely love it. And I love this collection here. So pretty much figures from waves 1 through 3 from the 1980s LJN Wrestling Superstars action figures by LJN from WWF. And yeah, I hope everybody liked checking out this special retro showcase and review. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a comment down below, give me a like if you like what you saw. Give a shout out to the Action Figure Jedi for letting me check these out. I'm going to do a separate video, sneak peek here. I have a couple of these anyway, but there's a little bit of a sneak peek here. The Bendies from 85 to 86 that were released by LJN as well. A lot smaller, as you can see, in scale, but that's a little sneak peek. So yeah, guys, until next time, thanks for watching, and as always, peace out.